Did you know there's a Bible with stories and secrets that almost no one knows? The Ethiopian Bible contains books and teachings that are not in the common Bible. Want to discover what these ancient texts reveal about faith, mysteries, and forgotten characters? Let's explore this hidden universe together and understand what these accounts hold for those who dare to learn more about history. The Ethiopian Bible is a true treasure of Christian history, with a journey as unique as it is fascinating. Unlike the translations and adaptations that occurred with the more well-known versions like the Protestant and Catholic Bibles, the Ethiopian Bible followed its own trajectory, strongly influenced by the culture and faith of Ethiopia. Since the early centuries of Christianity, Ethiopia adopted the Christian faith independently, becoming one of the world's first officially Christian kingdoms. This historical detail is crucial because the Ethiopian Orthodox Church preserved its scriptures in an isolated context, far from the theological influences that shaped Western Christianity. In Ethiopia, the Bible gained a role that goes beyond the religious. It became a symbol of national identity. For centuries, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church protected these texts, resisting external pressures, including attempts at colonization and the expansion of other versions of the Bible. This zeal for preservation makes the Ethiopian Bible one of the best-guarded traditions and most faithful to early Christianity. It's interesting to think that for many Ethiopians, these texts are not just stories or spiritual teachings. They represent the cultural heritage of their people and the resilience of a unique and ancient tradition. One of the most notable aspects of the Ethiopian Bible is its extent. Unlike the Protestant Bible, with 66 books, and the Catholic Bible, with 73, the Ethiopian Bible includes more than 80 books. This expanded canon reveals a spiritual richness that was set aside in other traditions. Among these books are texts like the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, and the Ascension of Isaiah, works that offer a detailed look at spiritual and historical themes. This collection is not just a curiosity, it represents a rich and complex perspective of the Christian faith, preserved for centuries only in Ethiopia. By exploring the history and origin of the Ethiopian Bible, one can glimpse an early, diverse, and multifaceted Christianity. Ethiopia kept alive a version of the Bible that brings unique teachings and stories, many of which have been forgotten in Western traditions. In this script, we will discover which books make up this singular collection and understand why they were considered essential by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. After all, getting to know the Ethiopian Bible is also rediscovering aspects of the Christian faith that have been lost over the centuries. The Ethiopian Bible contains a collection of books that are not part of Western versions and that add depth to the understanding of Christianity. Among these exclusive texts are the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, and the Ascension of Isaiah, each offering spiritual perspectives that expand the view of the nature of the divine and the universe. These books are not just stories. They are profound teachings that challenge readers to reflect on essential themes of faith. The Book of Enoch is one of the most fascinating texts in this collection, bringing stories of fallen angels, the Nephilim, and celestial revelations. It describes the rebellion of angels who abandoned heaven to live among humans, teaching them forbidden knowledge. These narratives explore the conflict between good and evil and the interaction between the celestial and human worlds. For Ethiopians, this book is crucial to understanding the struggle between divine and dark forces and the role of angels in spiritual history. Another important book is the Book of Jubilees, which narrates the creation and the journey of the patriarchs with details not found in Genesis. Also called the Little Genesis, it retells the biblical story with precise chronology and adds details about key events. The lives of biblical figures like Adam, Eve, Noah, and Abraham are recounted with greater depth, bringing new meanings to well-known episodes. This level of detail helps readers contextualize the biblical story and better understand the origins and traditions of the faith. The Ascension of Isaiah is another remarkable text that takes readers on a unique spiritual journey. It describes the visions of the prophet Isaiah as he ascends through the heavens and contemplates the angelic hierarchy. This mystical experience, full of symbolism and mystery, invites readers to reflect on the glory and order of God's universe. For the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, these visions have immense spiritual value, offering a perspective that surpasses common understanding and brings us closer to the essence of the divine. These exclusive texts add a mystical depth to the Ethiopian Bible and challenge readers to see Christianity with new eyes. The inclusion of these books in the Ethiopian canon reveals the value of spiritual diversity and invites us to reflect on what we can learn by exploring these ancient stories, which still echo profound meanings. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Ethiopian Bible is the presence of exclusive characters and stories that do not appear in other versions of the Bible. These stories add new layers of understanding to the Christian tradition and reveal lesser-known aspects of the faith. Among the most fascinating characters are the fallen angels and the Nephilim, who play central roles in texts like the Book of Enoch and whose stories offer spiritual lessons and deep reflections on the nature of sin and obedience to God. The fallen angels, known as the Watchers, are described as celestial beings who decided to abandon heaven to live among humans. This choice brought catastrophic consequences, as the Watchers taught hidden secrets to humanity, revealing mysteries that were not intended for men. The presence of these fallen angels in the Ethiopian Bible leads us to reflect on the temptations of forbidden knowledge and the limits of wisdom. For the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the story of these angels is a warning about the dangers of arrogance and the desire for power, themes that remain relevant. The Nephilim are other exclusive characters who have a striking presence. Born from the union between fallen angels and human women, they are described as powerful giants who bring destruction and chaos. Their existence represents a violation of divine laws and serves as a reminder of the consequences of disobedience. The stories of the Nephilim are rich in symbolism and question the balance between the human and the supernatural. In the Ethiopian Bible, these narratives are more than tales of extraordinary beings. They are warnings about the dangers of crossing sacred boundaries. Another example of unique narrative is the visions of the prophet Isaiah on his journey through the heavens. The Ascension of Isaiah describes a mystical experience in which he contemplates the hierarchy of angels and the throne of God. These visions are an invitation to explore the complexity of God's universe and the relationship between the divine and the human. The detailed descriptions of these visions broaden spiritual understanding, revealing a world that, for Ethiopian Christians, is as vast as it is mysterious. These exclusive narratives and characters enrich the Ethiopian Bible and challenge readers to reflect on the mystical side of faith. They reveal a spiritual dimension that invites introspection and questioning about the connection between the human and the divine. For many, exploring these stories is an opportunity to get closer to the mysteries of Christianity with a renewed perspective. The Ethiopian Bible differs from other Bibles not only in the number of books but also in the depth and style of its texts. With more than 80 books, this Bible is one of the most comprehensive canons of Christianity, including works that were excluded from Western versions. This quantity of texts reveals an approach by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church that values spiritual diversity and richness, rather than the uniformity that characterizes other Christian traditions. Beyond the number of books, the content of the Ethiopian Bible brings distinct spiritual focuses. It includes texts like the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees, which explore themes such as the existence of fallen angels and the history of the patriarchs with details not present in the Catholic and Protestant Bibles. These books bring forth a mystical and poetic vision of faith, where the divine and the mystical intertwine uniquely. For many Westerners, these narratives may seem almost mythological, but for Ethiopians, they are essential elements of the spiritual tradition. Another aspect that differentiates the Ethiopian Bible is the interpretation of sacred texts, which is closer to a contemplative spirituality open to mystery. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church preserved these books with profound respect for their origins and messages, reflecting an understanding of faith that encompasses a diversity of perspectives. This choice demonstrates an openness to the complexity of the divine, valuing a spirituality that invites the reader to reflect and contemplate the mysteries of God. These differences make the Ethiopian Bible a source of rich and unique wisdom. For scholars, it represents a window into early Christianity, where diversity and spiritual depth were celebrated. For modern readers, exploring this Bible is an invitation to discover a vaster and more complex Christianity, reminding us that faith is not something fixed but a living tradition in constant evolution. The exclusive texts of the Ethiopian Bible offer a spiritual vision that transcends traditional understanding, touching on themes of humility, wisdom, and reverence for the sacred. Each page of these books carries messages that provoke the reader to reflect on their own journey of faith, encouraging a deeper relationship with the divine and the universe. For those who explore these texts, the Ethiopian Bible becomes a source of inspiration that renews spirituality in a unique way. The Book of Enoch exemplifies this spiritual value, especially when addressing the rebellion of the angels and the consequence of seeking forbidden knowledge. It teaches that the desire to attain divine wisdom without alignment with God's will can lead to suffering and disorder. This lesson of humility is a warning to readers, showing that true wisdom is not in accumulating knowledge but in understanding the limits and purpose of faith. Another example is the Book of Jubilees, which highlights the importance of cycles and harmony with divine time. It explores the holiness of time, showing that living in tune with the cycles established by God brings peace and balance. This message reminds us of the value of rest and celebration, revealing a practical spirituality that connects with daily life. In the Ethiopian tradition, this approach is fundamental to a fuller and more conscious life. The ascension of Isaiah also carries profound spiritual meaning by describing the prophet's visions as he ascends to the heavens. This narrative invites readers to seek spiritual purity and aspire to a life in communion with the Creator. The descriptions of the celestial spheres reveal an understanding of God that transcends materiality, inspiring a quest for transcendence and connection with the sacred. The Ethiopian Bible plays a central role in the religious and cultural identity of Ethiopia. Since the early days of Christianity in the country, these exclusive texts have been an anchor for the faith and daily life of Ethiopians. They not only guide religious practices but also inspire cultural traditions and festivals celebrated throughout the nation. The Timkat Festival, for example, celebrates the baptism of Jesus and incorporates teachings from the Ethiopian Bible, reinforcing the connection between faith and local culture. The influence of the Ethiopian Bible goes beyond temples and monasteries, reaching almost every aspect of Ethiopian life. Many celebrations and rituals are based on the stories and teachings of these texts, transforming the Bible into a spiritual and cultural guide. The preservation of these texts by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church is seen as a sacred mission, a commitment to the roots of the faith that shaped national identity. This link between the Bible and culture strengthens the unity of the Ethiopian people and highlights the role of religion in building society. Outside Ethiopia, the Ethiopian Bible is generating growing interest among scholars, theologians, and curious individuals seeking to understand more about early Christianity. This openness has fostered debates about the value of spiritual diversity and the richness of teachings preserved outside the West. For many, the Ethiopian Bible is a key to understanding Christianity in its entirety, recognizing it as a global tradition rich in different expressions and meanings. Thus, the Ethiopian Bible becomes a symbol of resistance and of the connection between faith and identity. It shows that spirituality can be a powerful and enduring force that preserves a people's culture and history. Reflecting on its influence raises the question, what more can we learn from the Ethiopian Bible about the many ways to live and interpret faith? The exclusion of exclusive books from the Ethiopian Bible is a mystery that dates back to the early history of Christianity. In the first centuries, texts like the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees were respected and widely read. However, as Christianity expanded and became institutionalized, the quest for uniformity in doctrine led to the process of canonization, in which certain books were excluded from the Western canon. Theological, political, and cultural issues influenced these decisions. The process of canonization in the West was influenced by the need to consolidate a clear and cohesive doctrine, excluding texts that could bring divergent interpretations. The inclusion of stories about fallen angels and Nephilim, as in the Book of Enoch, posed challenges, as some leaders saw these accounts as incompatible with emerging doctrines. Over time, these texts were set aside, while other books were canonized to form the core of Western Christian faith. Besides doctrinal reasons, political factors also played a role in the exclusion of these texts. As Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire, greater uniformity was sought, and texts considered controversial or difficult to reconcile with orthodoxy were excluded. The decision reflected a desire to unify the faith and consolidate a clear vision of doctrine. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, isolated from these influences, preserved these texts in its canon. Today, reflecting on these choices leads us to think about the value of diverse spiritual teachings. What have we lost over the centuries, and how could these texts expand our understanding of Christian spirituality? The Ethiopian Bible represents a rich source of reflection that questions the limits of what we consider canonical and challenges us to see faith in a broader and more inclusive way. The Ethiopian Bible offers us an opportunity to rediscover Christianity with a new perspective. It invites us to reflect on deep themes like humility, reverence, and the quest for genuine spirituality. By exploring these ancient stories, we are confronted with the value of spiritual diversity and the impact of traditions preserved for centuries. These texts reveal lessons that enrich our understanding of faith, encouraging us to see beyond the limitations we know. One of the main lessons is humility in the face of knowledge. Texts like the Book of Enoch remind us that not all knowledge is safe for the human spirit. The unbridled pursuit of knowledge can distance us from the essence of faith and the simplicity of obedience to God. This message challenges the modern mentality that knowledge is power, showing that true power lies in seeking wisdom with humility and respect for the divine. Another essential learning is the appreciation of time and tradition. The Ethiopian Bible preserves texts that date back to early Christianity, offering a window into the roots of faith. In a world where innovation is constant, these teachings remind us of the value of continuity and fidelity to spiritual roots. Keeping these traditions alive is a way to honor the past and transmit lessons that go beyond fashions and conventions. Moreover, the Ethiopian Bible opens our eyes to a vision where the divine and the human are deeply connected. In narratives about angels, the Nephilim, and Isaiah's visions, we find a spirituality that embraces mystery as part of the Christian experience. This perspective invites us to revisit our experience of faith and recognize the value of the supernatural, the inexplicable, and the sacred. Finally, the Ethiopian Bible challenges each of us to reflect on our own tradition. It reminds us that Christianity is not something fixed but a living tradition with different expressions that complement each other. By delving into these stories, we are invited to experience a richer and more diverse faith that brings us closer to a greater truth. Exploring the Ethiopian Bible is like opening a chest of forgotten spiritual treasures, full of stories and reflections that challenge our understanding of faith. Throughout this script, we discover that these texts preserve profound messages about humility, wisdom, and a connection with the divine. They show us that faith can be understood in diverse ways. If this journey has sparked your interest, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications to continue exploring these mysteries. Also, leave your comment. Which story or character from the Ethiopian Bible caught your attention the most? Let's discuss these fascinating teachings in the comments.